So let's take a look at LifeLock versus IDShield and compare these two identity theft protection services in terms of what they have to offer when it comes to monitoring your personal information online, when it comes to credit monitoring and transaction monitoring, also for what they have to offer in terms of threat resolution when problems inevitably do arise, and finally how they stack up in terms of cost and what you're getting for what you're paying with these two companies. For the purposes of this video, I'm going to compare LifeLock's Advantage plan with IDShield's individual plan, just the baseline of those two tiers respectively. But if you're just looking for a quick answer, having used both of these and actually 6 identity theft protection services total, I'd say between LifeLock and IDShield, the better choice is definitely IDShield. LifeLock has a lot of sort of shortcomings despite being one of the most renowned names in identity theft protection, if not the most renowned name. And IDShield is a bit better than them in a few regards for sure. I'd actually recommend instead checking out Aura in place of either of these two. Of all the identity theft protection services I've used, Aura offers the most comprehensive package at really a nice approachable price. So in any case, whichever one you do choose, if you use my links in the description below this video, you can automatically apply a nice discount when you go to sign up for your plan if it's available. In particular with Aura, it's up to 50% off your plan, which really makes it even more than you see here, really the standout best choice. But my link will also get you a worthwhile discount on LifeLock, and not sure if I have one for IDShield at the moment, but in any case, I will always keep those links in the description updated with the best discounts I currently have access to, so feel free to check them out. So the most important aspect to me of any identity theft protection service is their personal information monitoring. So I'm just going to hop back to the dashboards here, and actually another thing worth mentioning is that IDShield is a little bit kind of clunky. I've just signed in here, and now every time I want to go to one of these modules, in this case I'm heading over to credit and dark web monitoring, it opens up this new portal, or I'm not entirely sure why it works this way. I've already logged in, but typically I'd have to log in again to get to this portal. If I want to go to reputation management, it's a different portal. Not really a contained system, which is a little strange. But anyway, back to the personal information monitoring. How these systems work is that basically you put in the information that you'd like it to monitor. Down here for LifeLock, that's going to be your name, social security number, date of birth, up to 5 email addresses, which I find is a bit limiting, 5 addresses, 5 phones, your mother's maiden name, driver's license, insurance numbers, credit cards, bank account numbers, and gamer tags. In the case of IDShield over here, it's quite similar. Email addresses, telephone numbers. Their email addresses, I have 6 monitored, as you can see, and they'll allow me to add more if I'd like. And I definitely have more than 5 email addresses like LifeLock offers. They offer, you can monitor telephone numbers, credit card numbers, store cards, bank accounts, medical IDs, your driver's license, passport, login credentials, mother's maiden name, national provider ID, investment accounts, employer ID, gamer tags, and your social security number. So as you can see right off the bat, IDShield definitely allows you to monitor more information, so that's nice there. You input this information and the systems will monitor the dark web for instances of your account information being leaked, usually usernames and passwords. And then when they find your information on the dark web, they'll give you alerts and tell you, hey, this username and password has been leaked over here. Time to go update your password. This is kind of what they look like. So there's an exposure of my data related to Twitter. It was my email that was exposed. And similarly over here, IDShield found the same one. It's a Twitter database. My email address was exposed, and that's what these alerts look like. Neither of these are really sort of up to snuff with the other identity theft protection services in terms of how thoroughly they monitor the dark web. If I look, all the way back in time, basically LifeLock has found this one here, and they found 7 more here. So that's a total of 8 for LifeLock, and most of the identity theft protection services have found more along the lines of 20 hits of my personal information being leaked on the dark web. And notably, LifeLock didn't find any hits associated with one of my email addresses that almost all of the other identity theft protection services did find. So strangely, similarly, IDShield is the only other one that didn't find that hit that LifeLock did not find. However, IDShield did find quite a bit more. It was closer to that 20 total hits number, but obviously a little bit because it didn't find the hits associated with that other email address. So I'd say in that regard, IDShield is a little bit better. But my biggest gripe with IDShield is that I can't find out, once I've cleared my alerts, I can't figure out how to go find them again. So I'm sure they're here somewhere, but this dashboard is just quite clunky to use, and it's not so easy to find everything that you're looking for. And I haven't been able to find the alerts that I've dismissed. But I do have notes, and I know that they found, quite a bit more than LifeLock, but I can't say it's all that much better because it's not on par with really sort of the industry standard out there either, even though it is better than LifeLock. So beyond personal identification monitoring, for the plans that we're evaluating today, they both offer 1 bureau credit monitoring. In the case of LifeLock, that is Equifax data, and in the case of IDShield, that is TransUnion data. And if you click here, TransUnion and Experian information is not available through LifeLock. You have to upgrade to get that. Same with IDShield. And in my experience with all of these identity theft protection services, really 3 bureau credit monitoring should be standard. That's definitely what you get with Aura. That's not really sort of what you're getting with either of these plans. With LifeLock, you do get your credit score, and you can also download your credit report. With IDShield, they plot your score over time, which is a nice feature. However, if you do want to get your credit report, you have to request it here. So it's not just available in the dashboard. So, I would have to say that LifeLock probably takes the cake there as well, even though neither one of these services is really providing the best option in that regard. And then they both do offer transaction monitoring. Basically, how that works is you can link your financial accounts, whether that's credit cards or bank accounts, and set transaction limits. And if anything's over that limit, if it's a large charge that you weren't expecting, you can look into it as soon as possible if it is indeed fraudulent. Both pretty similar in that regard. Beyond that, IDShield does offer, sex offender monitoring. You put in your address and a search radius, and it tells you if there are any registered sex offenders in that area. It also monitors your social media accounts. You can link up your Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube accounts, and it kind of judges whether or not, there are reputation risks associated with the content on your accounts there, whether that's stuff that you're posting or if someone has taken over your accounts and it's stuff that they're posting now. They do kind of give you an option to monitor that and make sure nothing bad happens. And they do offer reputation management, which is, again, in a different sort of portal. So we're not going to get into that right now. It's definitely not like a standard or expected offering from an identity theft protection service, but I suppose a nice thing to have with IDShield here. I haven't seen any monitoring of the public web for your personal information with data brokers. In the case of IDShield, it may exist. I have not found it. In LifeLock, well, they do offer that in their privacy monitoring section here. All they do is tell you, hey, these data brokers have exposed your information, and you can go ahead and fix it yourself, or you can pay us, some extra cash and we'll do it for you. Whereas services like Aura and a few of the others will submit opt-out requests from these data brokers on your behalf automatically without you having to do anything or pay anything extra. In terms of threat resolution, this is where LifeLock typically falls short compared to the other identity theft protection services out there. Both LifeLock and IDShield do offer $1 million in identity theft insurance, which is fairly standard. A few companies like Aura offer more, but you don't see them offering less than that. But when the time comes to call these support teams, my several experiences with LifeLock have been not pleasant, I would say. There's nothing wrong with the people I'm speaking to. They're just doing their jobs, but it's clearly a call center. It's super loud in the background. They're definitely not native English speakers. They're definitely reading off of a script, and they don't really understand sort of the situation you're in at all. They're definitely doing their best, but they're not really equipped to be supporting this kind of a service, in my opinion, whatsoever. Whereas IDShield support team clearly understands sort of the issue that you're having. They're happy to help. They're definitely not reading off a script. They totally understand why you're calling, who you are as their customer, and what they need to do in order to resolve your issue. It's night and day working with the support teams from these two companies. And when you're signing up for an identity theft protection service, usually the only reason you're calling them is because something really bad's happened, like you've lost your wallet, or someone's gotten access to your online banking account and taken all your money away, or they're racking up credit in your name and your credit score is absolutely trashed. Like, these are very high stress situations. And when you're talking to a support team, you want someone who really understands your problem, who's there to help, and not someone who's like reading off of a script, in a room with 60, 70 other people reading off of a script as well. So without a doubt, IDShield takes the cake in terms of threat resolution. Last but not least, let's take a look at how LifeLock and IDShield stack up in terms of pricing. Again, I'm looking at LifeLock's Advantage plan versus IDShield's individual one credit bureau monitoring plan. As you can see, IDShield only offers for you to pay monthly, and that's $14.95 per month. If you pay monthly with LifeLock, that price is $17.99 per month for the first year. Of course, it renews at a higher rate. And if you pay annually, it's roughly the same price as IDShield, $14.99 per month for the first year, but that also renews at a higher rate. So keep that in mind. What you're getting here, I would say, is fairly similar. I think IDShield offers some little perks that LifeLock does not offer. LifeLock offers some little perks that IDShield does not offer. I'm not sure any of those are sort of the core functionality of an identity theft protection service, and I'm not really sure that they should be, weighted so heavily to say one is better than the other in terms of features. But what is definitely something that should be weighted, first and foremost, the quality of the threat resolution that you're getting with IDShield versus LifeLock. IDShield absolutely blows LifeLock out of the water. I definitely would not want to be working with LifeLock on a day where my bank account has been drained, whereas I think IDShield would absolutely have my back. And then also just in terms of the extent of the dark web monitoring, well, IDShield's not the best out there. They're way better than LifeLock, who is surprisingly one of the worst. And that's particularly surprising because LifeLock is Norton's company, definitely one of the most renowned out there, and just comes up short when it comes to sort of the primary function of an identity theft protection service. So if you do choose either LifeLock or IDShield, make sure to use my links in the description of this video to apply any discounts that I might have access to. I definitely have one for LifeLock right now, and I'm always updating those links with the best deals I know of. So if you want sort of the current deal, check out those links and see what you get. And as I mentioned at the top of this video, I really would recommend you check out Aura if you haven't already. I'll include a link in the description of this video to get my deal with them as well, which gives you 3 bureau credit monitoring, excellent customer support, very, very thorough dark web monitoring, basically all that you're getting with IDShield and more at a better price, and especially when you apply my discount there. If you want to get a bit more information about Aura, I'll leave my Aura review playing as this video comes to a close. You can also check out my LifeLock review right here on this channel. Thanks for watching, and I hope this helps you find an identity theft protection service that you're happy with.